چای کلیه داره میاد. دادا
So that emotional moment, meeting my dad for the first time, was a 46-year journey in the making. So I grew up thinking my brother's dad was my dad, but in my heart, I just knew something wasn't right. I always felt different. My brother was light-skinned, freckled, light eyes. My mom was light-skinned, freckled, light eyes. His dad, who I was told was my dad, was also the same. So I always just felt a little different. I was really active and athletic. My brother was really into computers. Something just didn't fit. And I always kind of knew it as a kid. And I even asked my mom, am I adopted, on multiple occasions. And she told me, no, you just got the good genes. You don't burn, your brother does. Lucky you. So I think finally it all kind of came to a head when I was 19. My mom asked me to come over. I wasn't living at home anymore. She asked me to come over. I went over and she told me that my biological dad was Persian, which of course at the time is really difficult to hear because everything I thought wasn't, but it also was like such a huge piece to the puzzle that it all finally fit. So she went on to explain to me that when she was stationed in Iran with my brother's dad, he was in the Air Force, and she had met a Persian man there on the Air Force base, and she had a fling with him while she was married to my brother's dad. She knew she was pregnant with his child, and she let him know and returned to the United States to have me. And she kept in contact with him for a little bit through letters and told me that he knew that she had a little girl. He named me Sima. That was kind of all she really told me. She kept it pretty short and sweet and didn't give me a lot of details. I asked her a lot of questions. She had a lot of, I don't remember. I think there was a lot of shame involved in it all because of the situation. I did tell my dad that I thought was my dad, and he said he always suspected that I wasn't his and that he still loved me, although we didn't really see him that often. I only saw him in the summers because my mom and him divorced when I was really young. So I kind of always had that in the back of my mind from 19. Of course, I wanted to find him, but how do you find somebody who lives in another country? So 2 years ago, 2018, I decided to take Ancestry.com test or Ancestry test. Sure enough, it confirmed I'm half Middle Eastern. So it was like, oh yeah, okay, my mom is right. My dad is Persian. And it was an awesome confirmation. But then a few months later, I started thinking, hey, why don't I make my results public? If I make them public, maybe I'll find a relative, or maybe I'll find my dad, who knows? So I called Ancestry because I didn't even know how to do that. And apparently I'd already made it public, and they told me, hey, you have a cousin on your Persian side. And so I decided to email them through the Ancestry website. And on my way to my husband's birthday celebration, we were going to a concert. I was checking my emails in the back of the car, and I saw that I had an email from this cousin, and it said, yes, your dad is my uncle, so she is my cousin. And she explained to me that he'd been looking for me my whole life, and that 15 years ago he asked her to start looking for me. So she had known my name, my maiden name, my mom's second married name. She married another man when I was 3. And so she was looking for me under the 2 maiden names that she thought I might be under. But I'd been married by that time for 23 years. So she was looking for me under the wrong name. I ended up having a phone conversation with her. We talked some more. She told me she needed to talk to my dad to let him know because she wasn't sure if my sister, she explained to me I had 4 sisters in Iran, that after my dad had me, that he then married a few years later when he found out my mom wasn't going to be returning to Iran and he wasn't going to be returning to her because she got married. So he went ahead and went on with his life and married and had 4 girls. So I am the oldest of the 4 girls. We have different moms, but we have the same dad. So just a few days after that, in 2018, in August, I got a call really early in the morning, which was really funny because Iran is 11 to 11 and a half hours, depending on what time of year it is, difference from us. So I just woke up and had bedhead and the whole bit, and all of a sudden my dad was FaceTiming me. So we talked, and I got to meet my stepmom and just got to know each other. We really just got to know each other over almost a year of FaceTiming, a year of calling, a year of sharing pictures, a year of asking each other what our favorite color is, just silly little things like that. And finally, we decided we needed to meet. And because of the political climate, I couldn't go to Iran, and my dad couldn't come to the US, so we decided to meet in Turkey in July 2019. So July 2018 came, and we met in Turkey and spent a week together. It was amazing. Sorry. A lot of answered questions that I have. A lot of sense of feeling like I belong. I never really felt like I belonged growing up. I felt different. And that really changed. When I met my family, I met my dad, my stepmom, and 2 of my sisters and their kids, and they're just full of love, and they're loud, which I love. My family growing up was always really small, and we didn't do a lot of family gatherings, but I always loved a big family gathering. I think that's why I married my husband, because he had a big family and they were loud, and I really was drawn to that. And so when I met them, it kind of made sense. Oh, that's why I like that, because that's who I am. In my core, I'm from that family. And they just took me all in like they'd known me their whole life and showed me a ton of love. And I so believe God's timing is so perfect. And even though people say, gosh, are you so bummed it took 46 years? No, gosh, God knew that I was supposed to meet my dad when my mom passed, because I know there was a lot of shame in that, and it would have been hard for her to know that I was meeting him and know that his story might be a little different from her story. I'm sure there's truth somewhere in between. Each of them have their own truth to what happened, because we all experience things differently. I just think it really did happen when it was supposed to, and it really confirmed to me that everything happens for a reason, and God's timing is so perfect. And through getting to know my dad, he wanted to know a lot about my childhood. He actually asked me in the letter, she told him I met a really good man and I'm going to marry him. And my dad wanted to know if he was a really good man, and he wasn't a good man. He was abusive and an alcoholic and a drug addict, and caused a lot of pain during our childhood. And even though I felt all that pain and insecurity in that, not having a stable home, I always felt a sense of peace. And I didn't even believe in God, honestly. I think when you grow up in that kind of environment, you kind of wonder where God's at. I felt something though. I felt protected, even though I lived in some turmoil. I did feel like I had something or someone watching over me. And now that I'm older, I know it was God. I know it was his presence. I know he was there. My dad was really upset to learn some of my childhood, but I had to just tell him that I'm happy. I'm happily married. I have 3 kids. I'm healthy. I have no regrets. I wouldn't want that for somebody I love, but I know that I am who I am today because of that experience. I know it wasn't supposed to be perfect. Life isn't perfect. And I just see the beauty in that. That week in Turkey was amazing. My husband is a very outgoing, touchy-feely kind of guy, and I think my dad actually gave him a little run for his money because he's very outgoing and touchy-feely also. My husband's knee was really bugging him because he'd torn his meniscus, and my dad would rub his knee just like he was his son, you know, massaging his knee, loving on him. The Persian's triple kiss. So that was a little different for us, but like so natural. We actually had some people come up to us in Turkey and they told us, your family is so full of love. I think that week was just so full of like so much joy of finally getting to meet each other after talking for 11 months that we were just exuding it. It was just a week of water slides and swimming. My dad was a swim coach. He was in the military for 31 years in the Air Force, but he was also a swim coach. So lots of swimming lessons. He was teaching us different strokes, lots of conversation, great dinners. We did go out into the harbor one day, which was really beautiful, and just shared some time shopping and walking around. Just really got to know each other. But in person, there's a big difference of this FaceTime. There's something to be said for tangible relationships rather than, you know, this all the time or, you know, through a phone. So, and I wasn't used to that much affection from a fatherly figure, so that was different for me. Usually I was very closed off in that respect, so it was interesting to have a father that wanted to embrace me the way he did. So saying goodbye was really difficult. My dad actually wanted to go with us to the airport, but then he would have had to take a taxi back because his flight was later than ours. So he was upset he wasn't going to say goodbye to me at the airport. I was upset because he was upset. I was upset because I didn't think I was going to see him again, or I knew it might be a long time. Although I did feel a lot of peace because I knew, like, okay, I finally got this moment, and if this is all it's supposed to be, this is all it's supposed to be. I know him now. I know who I am. So many questions have been answered. So even though I was sad that I was leaving him, there was this big relief that, like, oh, I finally, like, this is built up for so many years. This was 46 years of waiting to meet my dad, and 26 years of knowing I had another dad and thinking I'll never meet him. This man's in another country. So it really was bittersweet. I would love for my dad to come visit. So I'm hoping that, you know, my story gets out and he could get a travel visa. We're working on that now. I would love for him to come to the United States and meet my husband's side of the family and get to spend some time with us here. I would even love to go to Iran one day, but I know right now it's just not good timing, although my dad assures me I could come anytime and I would be safe, but I'm hoping that day will come, but we'll just have to see where that goes. I think we're good. What do you think?
I think it's great.
It's real.
It's real. Boom.